So welcome everyone to our third All Advisors in Residence session. I think I know everyone here, but I am Jamie Clay, Director of the Young Leaders and Whole Community Programs. We have 11 advisors joining us today from 7 states and potentially one country. So if you're on already, if you could introduce yourself in the chat and where you are Zooming from, that would be great. Just a quick snapshot of our advisors joining us today. Their advisors are in the advisor section of the alumni website, and we'll do a quick refresher of introductions at the beginning of each session. But our advisors that were new to 2024 and returning in 2025 are Greg Vanderek and David Zinnerman with the leadership team, Rachel Mayung and Tom Thompson with the professional team, and Eric Estrada and Elsa Olgin with the whole person team. Our advisors that are sadly exiting for 2025 are Allison Rabin and Pete Burridge with the leadership team. But no worries, Pete will be joining us next year with the whole person team. Dr. Roz and Sean Stigler with the professional team, Sam King and Jill Pillsbury with the whole person team. So I just wanted to say thank you to those of us who are exiting for this year. It's been super fun getting to know you more and learning from you over the last 1 to 2 years. So our advisors met with our alumni over the course of 2024, and I wanted to quickly just review the themes that came across those sessions, actionable steps for alumni to prioritize in their 20s. These themes, I think, exemplify the power and the value of these sessions that can be accomplished and tailored to your learning in just 2 hours a month. So within leadership, the importance of leading with empathy. So you can do this with scheduling regular check-ins with your team, and not just for work updates, but to understand your colleagues and peers and reports, challenges and goals. Practice active listening by reflecting back what you hear to ensure people feel heard. Increase communication, especially during high pressure situations, by scheduling one-on-ones, group updates, and over communication is better than no communication. Understand your team's preferred communication styles. So really understand who's an introvert, who's an extrovert, and tailor your interactions with them accordingly. Practice ethical leadership. So periodically reflect on your values alignment, ensuring you're making decisions that are core and connect with your principles. Approach different conversations with empathy and clarity, and express your observations without judgment, which can be hard, but stepping back and trying to be as objective as possible. Within professional development, advocate for yourself for professional development opportunities. So if they're not available to you or offered to you in your workplace, you can suggest virtual conferences or training for management opportunities. Encourage open discussions. This is especially important when you're talking about failures and learning lessons, and share your own experiences to connect with people and to set the tone. Create an environment where people feel comfortable. So ask for help when you need it. Don't be afraid to do that. Share your strengths and weaknesses, and share the strengths and weaknesses of others. The importance of managing competing priorities and resource constraints. So this means prioritize tasks systematically, identify which tasks align with long-term goals and which align with short-term or immediate needs, and build strategic relationships to share the burden and get creative with solutions. So, identify colleagues or mentors to brainstorm with. Don't feel like you have to take all these challenges always on your own. And with personal development, in our whole person session, the importance of saying yes to new opportunities. So identify at least one opportunity outside of your comfort zone each quarter. What does that look like? So this could be volunteering for a new project, or maybe attending an event, putting yourself out there, just trying something new. And track how these experiences contribute to your personal and professional growth? You know, are you incorporating journaling? Are you, using an app or whatever works for you? Build resiliency and adaptability. So create a habit of reflection again, journaling lessons, especially from difficult situations, and maybe connect on how you're feeling that in your body and in your day to day. Develop a physical and mental wellness routine. What does exercise look like for you? Are you meditating? Are you reflecting in some way? And the importance of also unlearning things and redefining what success looks like for you. So identify old habits that no longer serve you, or work toward unlearning them, or maybe replacing them with better habits. And then in the face of internal challenges, really leaning into your strengths or your superpowers that we'll hear from all of you in a little bit. And actively seek support where you need it. Again, don't be afraid to ask for help or to communicate your needs. And technology. So technology was a big theme through all of the advisor sessions, and some themes came up through all these individual sessions around technology, like the importance of exploring AI tools. We got so many good recommendations from the different advisors as well as alumni. So using them to enhance creativity or reduce your workload, like chat tools, meeting schedulers, email reminders, AI meeting assistants for virtual meetings. And manage your availability using technology, again, with like email scheduling focus time, turn your chat statuses off or show that you're available. And then share your knowledge and experience with your colleagues. So if you find something new that's really helpful for you, don't gatekeep that. Share that with everybody else. And find people that can support your new idea if they like the tool as well, and present that to your organization. And also, be a teacher in that space. So provide hands-on demonstrations to your colleagues, share small wins, really show the value of those tools and help them feel comfortable using them. So I hope these action steps empower you guys to apply these to, your day-to-day, your leadership practices, work, professional, personal development. As a reminder, you can dive into these advisor session recordings through People Grove to hear kind of where all of these actionable steps and the dialogue that came from them. So we are going to next do our icebreaker. So this will help sort of lean into, once we identify your superpower throughout the day, as you meet with your advisors, as you hear the things that they have to say. So I would like to hear from everyone on what you think your superpower is, and you can take that however you'd like. So I'm just gonna call on you guys through how I see you on my screen. So I'll start with our alumni and then go to our advisors and then our staff. So first on my screen to announce your superpower, we have the one and only Tyler Cunningham. If you could take yourself off mute and let us know.
Hi, can you hear me well? Perfect. That's funny. I'm first on my screen as well, right after you. So, my name's Tyler. I use he/they pronouns. I am living in Santa Barbara, California right now, and I would say my superpower tends to be seeing the connections between multiple systems or ideas or thoughts of mine that are often not immediately there for everybody else. And so it either takes an explanation or a little jump, but being able to see that and then communicate that, I find that really powerful in my life. Much better than my superpower of finding things, but only when I ask somebody. So,
Thanks, Tyler. Lamar, you are next.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lamar Morgan. My superpower is just focus on people. So not unlike Tyler, just kind of pulling out insights from what happens. I like to help people. I just like to get people in a room and see what we can make happen out of it, especially when they have some kind of purposeful or community-based alignment. So just bringing folks together, and then hopefully, developing mutual community, through that process.
Thank you. Annika, you're next.
I think my superpower, hi, my name's Annika. I live in Denver. Preferred pronouns are she, hers. And my superpower is overthinking, but applied in a useful and beneficial way. So I'll think on an issue, especially if it applies to what I'm doing for work or in personal life, and think about all of the different combinations and variables, oftentimes too too much, and that helps me foresee issues that may come up. So overthinking that helps me foresee and action and prepare, I think, is my superpower. And I've been told this, so validated.
I love that. Thank you. Ananda, you're next.
Thank you, Jamie, and hi, everyone. I would say my superpower is, I think, just maintaining like a positive mindset. And I think throughout my life, I've been able to kind of frame challenges as opportunities. And I think it helps me to not be discouraged and continue looking at maybe things that might not be so positive or tricky in the moment as like exciting, and how can this be something I can learn and grow from? Yeah.
Thank you. Akshay?
Good morning, everyone. That's definitely a good question about what my superpower is. And I think what I would say is I really like connecting people and groups who I think can work together, especially at work. I find myself really being able to see clearly what people are working on and how that connects with other pieces and pieces in the puzzle. And I think like just seeing how it all fits together is something that I excel at.
Great. Thank you. And Miss Connie, you're next.
Hi everyone, Connie reporting in from Denver. Um, I would say my superpower is just having an attitude that I can figure out anything that I want to. I read something where I think it's a book or something that says everything is figure outable, and I really do believe that I can figure it out if I just put my mind to it.
Thank you. And Devante, you're next, followed by Yetzi.
Hello, hello. I am calling in from Los Angeles. So, hello, everyone. And I would say that my superpower is kind of a high degree of emotional intelligence. I feel like I can really understand what people want, what they should want, what they're not giving themselves, and what I'm going to do about it. So, that's my superpower.
Great. Thank you.
Hey, everyone. My name is Yetzi. I think that I'm calling in from Chicago, and my superpower is adaptable thinking and pattern recognition. I'm really good at finding the links between what seems at first like unrelated things, and I think that leads to a lot of ingenuity, and a distinct approach to storytelling.
Thank you. All right. So I think we hit all of our alums. So we're going to now shoot it over to our advisors. I'd like to hear about your superpowers. So Jill, we'll start with you, followed by Greg.
Okay, great. Hi, everybody. I'm Jill. I'm calling in from Laguna Beach, California this morning. And Annika, I just have to say, I love your superpower being an overthinker because, like you, I tend to be an overthinker, but I've always more as a handicap than a positive. So I'm going to put that in the bank. Thank you for sharing. People call me the fixer, oftentimes. So common thread here, but I love to problem solve. I think I have a knack for doing that, kind of digging in either one-on-one or bringing a group of people together to find solutions, personal solutions, work-related solutions, as a group or one-on-one.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody, this is Greg here. I'm from Lakewood, Colorado, but I'm zooming in from Stockholm, Sweden. I just flew all night. I'm over here for a week of leadership teaching, actually. It's good to be back. I used to live here, and he, him, his pronouns. And I'd say writing and communication. I just love everything about the writing process, from coming up with new ideas to drafting and editing and simplifying. I write books and articles and chapters and all sorts of things, and try to bring that clarity in communication. So it's great to be with you. Hey from Sverige.
Thanks, Greg. All right, Tom, you're next, followed by David.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tom. I'm calling in from New York City. I think my superpower is active listening and translating one person's complex ideas into something that is easily understandable by other people who may not get it on the first pass.
All right, I guess I'm up. Hey, everybody. David from North Carolina. I'm in Raleigh. My superpower is hope. And hope's interesting because hope correlates with a lot of the skills for adaptability. And it really is a skill. I'm not sure that we don't think of it like an emotion or intuitive or something that's not definable, but building adaptability over time, whether it's grit or resilience or mindset, there's 15 dimensions to adaptability, and hope correlates the most out of all those skills to adaptability. And hope really is pathways to success. And the more you face challenges and the more you figure out how to get through those challenges with those different dimensions of adaptability, you become more hopeful. You become more successful with your pathways the next time you face challenges. So I've had a lot of challenges over my 40-year career, both personally and professionally. So I have plenty of time to practice being hopeful and optimistic, and using a lot of adaptability skills. So hope is my superpower.
Love that. Thank you, David. And Eric, you're next, followed by Sean.
Great. Good morning, everyone. I would say my superhuman power is teaching. I love to teach. I'm in my flow state when I teach. And I learned last week that Harvard Law picked up my textbook, which I just think reaffirms my passion for teaching.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I know I shouldn't say jealous, but I'm so jealous of where a lot of our other advisors are, such great places. We have an office in Raleigh. I never knew how cool Raleigh was until I started visiting. And Stockholm, I think, is one of the most underrated cities in the world. So if you get a chance, it's such a great place. So my superpower is talking about other cities. No, my superpower, I think, is building teams, trying to lift people up. I have a very technical, I'm an accountant and a lawyer, but I don't think those are really my superpowers. My superpowers are leveraging that to help build teams. And I love being a little bit of a part of other people's success. So excited to help today however I can.
Thank you. And I think, Pete, I think you're last.
All right, great. Well, first, just want to thank everybody for being here and participating this morning. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to the conversations. My superpower, I'm going to go with positivity, or positivity grounded in reality. I really do see opportunity everywhere, and I think that opportunity exists in the mind first, and then can be extrapolated out into the real world and actions based on having the right mindset. So positivity, similar to Ananda.
Thank you. I love how similar yet how vastly different all of these are and personal. These are so great. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to our lovely staff that are here on the call with us and hear from your superpowers. So we're gonna start with Anne Marie and then hear from Jesse.
Good morning, everyone. I'm joining you all from Boulder. I would say my superpower is empathy. I really deeply feel the feels that other people are feeling, and I think connect with people over that. And just, I think really am able to observe where folks are at emotionally and just connect with them and I think find ways to support them through that.
All right. I'm Jessie, and I would say my superpower would probably be data management and problem solving within data, trying to get processes and everything to go as smoothly as possible, and seeing ways that we can be more efficient and fix things as we go.
Thank you. And next we have Jenny, followed by Lewis.
Good morning. Super happy to be here with all of you. Thanks for sharing your time. My superpower is staying calm in stressful situations.
I'm Lewis. I'm in Chicago, specifically Riverside, right outside of Chicago near Oak Park. And my superpower is similar to Akshay's. I'm good at connecting people. I'm good at remembering, like, hey, somebody's looking for a job in this industry. And then I talk to somebody in that industry and then connecting the two and getting them together. So I'm good at doing that. And I have another limited superpower in that I can tell when something is wrong. I can look at somebody and see something's wrong, but I'm very bad at guessing what that is. So I've stopped asking. I've started asking what it is rather than trying to guess. Always wrong at guessing, so I always ask, but I'm good at seeing something is up.
Thank you. And Wendy, you're next, followed by Autumn. Autumn, nice to see you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Wendy. I'm coming in from New York City. Also an alumni, class of 2013. I think my superpower is I have a very strong sense of confidence in my personal growth. So, for example, I have 15 books that I have started throughout the year, and I still think I could finish them by the end of December if I just like put my mind to it. And I think it's good to have confidence in your own personal growth because you just keep going for the next thing. Yeah, I think that's my confidence.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Autumn Joy Lee Cass, calling in from Atlanta, Georgia, but I am a Buckeye. I'm from Ohio. I'm not from Georgia. Just got to throw that in there. I am a joy bringer and a community builder. I would say those are my superpowers. I really enjoy connecting with people and bringing joy and light to every space that I enter.
Love that. Thank you. Next, we have Justin, followed by Emily.
Thanks, Jamie. Good morning, y'all. I think I share a superpower with Connie. I can figure anything out if I put my mind to it. And I've always been pretty sure that I can do anything that I put my mind to because of being able to figure it out. And I really love to test that theory by teaching myself how to do new things.
Hi, everyone. Emily. Similar to Autumn, I feel my superpower is being a connector or community builder. I really love bringing people together and connecting them with opportunities or activities that highlight or bring out their joy or their magic and superpowers.
Thank you. And we have another advisor here, Allison Rabin. So we're going to go to Allison for your superpower, and then we're going to follow by Allison Wallace.
Yep. Okay. I would say my superpower is I'm a collaborator. So one of the things I love doing is helping people identify their strengths and weaknesses and their likes and dislikes, and helping them truly find their highest and best role. Because we could be really great at things, and if we don't enjoy doing it, it just kind of takes Autumn's joy away from them, you know? So I think collaborator would be my superpower.
Hi, everyone. I'm Allison Wallace, coming in from Charlotte, North Carolina. I think that my superpower is my comfort and vulnerability, and the fact that that allows others to do the same to create deeper connections, which in turn builds community.
Thank you. Well, thank you, everyone. I'm really excited that we got through everyone. I wasn't sure if we would have time. So I'll go last. I think for me, my superpower is probably externally connecting with animals. I feel I have a very strong ability to connect with animals, but also I'm super organized, and to turn that into like a positive, I like to say I'm an architect of order and efficiency. So just bring clarity to chaos, ensuring things are detailed and things are working out systematically and seamlessly. So yeah, just trying to anticipate challenges, streamline processes, and empower others to do the same. Okay, so we're going to do a quick review of the agenda before we go into our first session. So top of the next hour, we have our leadership session. At 10 o'clock, our professional team, and 11 o'clock, a whole person team. And there you can see the different themes of those sessions that sort of summarize what the breakout groups are about. And then at 12 o'clock, we're going to do our wrap up and our very exciting Ignite raffle. So make sure you're on for that, because you can win your way to Ignite in different ways. So I want to make sure everyone takes a quick 3-minute stretch break, and we will get ready with our leadership session at the top of the hour.
All right. Well, welcome everyone to our first session of the day. This is our advisor session with our leadership team. And I want to introduce our 4 advisors, and then they'll all answer a question before we move out into our breakout rooms. So our leadership advisors are Allison Rabin. She is been serving in this capacity for 2 years. So this is her last session with us as an advisor. Allison is the COO of Near North Title Group. She's from Illinois, or calling us from Illinois. And she's been involved with Greenhouse in a number of capacities as a new scholar selection volunteer, as a mentor. Allison is a management executive with 26 years in the title and real estate business. Also, in his last session as a leadership advisor is Pete Burridge. Most of you know him as the founder and CEO of Greenhouse Scholars, Greenhouse Partners, and the 18. He is from Colorado. He is also serving as a board member, a new scholar selection lead, and he will be joining us next year as a whole person advisor. So we're excited to have him back in that capacity. Greg Vanarek is returning next year as a leadership advisor. He's the founder of Greg Vanarek LLC. As you heard, he's joining us from Sweden today, although he's normally from Colorado. He's an author and social entrepreneur, and he spoke at Ignite a couple years ago, leading a personal development workshop. So we're excited to have him in this capacity as well. And then another returning advisor is David Zimmerman. He is a founding and managing director of a consulting firm that specializes in strategic business advisory, leadership coaching, and talent development. He's joining us from North Carolina. He gives a lot of time to Greenhouse as a coach, advisor, new scholar selection. He's a mentor, and he's also joined the North Carolina Development and Advisory Board. So thank you for all your service to Greenhouse and supporting our scholars and alumni. So we're going to ask all of our advisors to answer one question, and we'll go in the order that I just introduced people. So Allison, Pete, Greg, and then David. And the question we'd like you to answer for the group is, what is the top leadership advice you would give to young professionals in their 20s? So Allison, go ahead.
So I have to apologize in advance. My heat went out in the house, and it is 50 degrees in my house, which I have to say, holy cats. So I apologize if I am, obviously freezing to death. Top advice that I would give, ask questions. And if you don't understand something, ask more questions, because I think it shows your intelligence, your thirst for knowledge. And when I'm looking for young leaders and people who really have people that I want to invest my time and my energy and promote and all those, I look for people who truly want to learn, want to be present, are are okay with hearing things that aren't just, oh my God, you're so great, but truly give you, and accept good feedback, and asking those kind of questions and being somewhat vulnerable in that path is just, I think, a really great recipe for success.
Thank you, Allison. Pete?
Okay, let's see. I've got two things in terms of advice for folks in their 20s regarding leadership. My first one is this idea of being self-aware. So we're all a work in progress always. And in your 20s, as a leader of people, profits, and purpose, no matter how good you are, where you sit in your 20s, you've got a great deal still to learn. It would be horrible, frankly, if that wasn't the case, because life would be much, much less interesting. So the idea of just knowing where you are today, what your strengths are, what your areas of opportunity are, and where you want to go, what you want to focus on with your leadership, and therefore being able to be intentional with that what I call sort of self-awareness of your current status, your current situation. And then my second thing is, if you want to speed up learning in your 20s, I would suggest four things. Be willing to make decisions, to therefore experience small failures and be wrong. Read about leadership. So Wendy, this is not for you, given the 15-book backlog, but for everybody else, Wendy's not in her 20s anymore either. But read 2 leadership books, leadership-centric books a year. They could be autobiographical. They could be, literally about leadership. Sounds like Greg's got some books he's written. So as I'm plugging for you, Greg. And so just really try and pick a couple of books about leadership to get all these different perspectives that you can. The third thing, to speed up your learning, work with exceptional people. And the focus is on the word exceptional. You will learn faster, more, better if you're working with exceptional people. And then work the Greenhouse Leadership Framework. We've created a leadership framework that we believe in. And if you really use that as a tool, I think it'll speed up leadership learning in your 20s.
Thank you, Pete.
Great. Yeah. So I'm going to bridge Allison and Pete here. I would say lead yourself first. I think a lot of people skip over that. So when Allison talks about asking questions, I would agree. But we also want to ask ourselves big questions of who am I, to Pete's point about self-awareness? Why am I here? What do I want to do with my days on the planet, my 90,000 hours that I'll be working? What am I good at? What do I love to do? Who do I, long to serve, and how, and what communities, and how can I bring those gifts to the world? I think a lot of people just end up engaging right away. They get busy with meetings, and they're out there. And the people who develop a strong foundation of that self-awareness and that leading themselves first, who know their purpose and their core values and their strengths and their passions and their vision of the good life and of good work, it just grounds you, and it's just very, very powerful, and it sets you up to live and lead intentionally, as opposed to, as Warren Bennis would say, being deployed by other people, which is a common trap.
All great. I would say challenge yourself. Never get comfortable. Don't, have the courage to take on things you're not familiar with. If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. And the worst thing you can do is really get comfortable in your comfort zone and not stretch to continue to be a lifelong learner. So just whenever you see an opportunity, ask about it, take it on, force yourself to grow, and have the opportunity to fail so that you can figure out, how to continue to stretch. And then I would add curiosity. As fast as things are changing, and it's only going to speed up, the world's only going to speed up. Whenever you're in a new situation, kind of go in quiet, go in slow, sometimes we're eager to prove what we know and who we might be. And it's better to be inquisitive, to learn and understand the context of the environment and how you can contribute with the strengths that you might show up with. So I would say challenge, because challenge will change you, and curiosity and listening will inform you, when you're in a new situation.
That's all great advice. We're going to move into our breakout sessions now. You'll be automatically moved into the one that you selected. This will be a chance to be curious and to listen and to ask questions. So you can immediately put some of this leadership advice into practice in the next 40 minutes or so that we have. So go ahead and join your breakout room, and we'll see you back here in a bit. All right, I think we have most folks back at this point. I just want to say thank you again to all of our leadership advisors. So thank you to Allison and Pete, who are finishing up their tenure as a leadership advisor. And also thank you to Greg and David, who will be returning with us for next year. We have a 4-minute break. So if you want to get up and stretch, please go ahead and do that. And then just rejoin us here at this link for our professional and executive advisor session.
Is this going to still be on though?
Yeah, you can leave it on. You can just mute your screen.
So Wendy and Tyler and Connie, if you're still on and you want to just spend 2 minutes, you don't have to, but we could finish up that conversation. It's up to you.
Got you.
I would like to finish.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. So, the slide's not up, but I've got it in front of me. And so just the idea of the focusing on success and moving forward part of things, the next thing on the list was about being a great communicator. And, it's about clarity. It's about being concise, but also sort of counterintuitive. Sometimes you want to think about that in a timely situation, not all the information needs to be shared with everyone. You need to really understand what information to share and what information to maybe leave out so that you can get everybody focused on success. You have to be able to paint a picture for people. They have to understand the why. They have to understand, the path. You can't just tell people to do things to solve something, and you can't duck the difficult stuff. If everybody knows what's going on when things are tough, so you have to get it out there, get it acknowledged, and then move back to solutions as quickly as you can. And then from a buy-in standpoint, collaboration is always critical. Collaboration is such a big deal. And I think a mistake that people make is not understanding when to stop collaborating and say, hey, we got all the collaboration. Here's the plan, as the leader, here's what we're going to do. And, appreciating all of the input, but then getting everybody to really get on the page of this is the plan. Second guessing needs to stop, and everybody needs to get on board. And so the ability to get people to do that. But so yeah, I just wanted to get those last points out. And then Tyler and Connie and Wendy, I don't know if there's anything that we, want to.
Yeah, thanks for summarizing that. I think I am a lover of front-loading information and presenting all the information at once because I can process it easily. But I think you're right. I don't think all the information needs to be given to certain groups of people. And so I think I just need to be better at that. Like maybe I'll front load for myself and then pare down based on who I'm speaking to.
Yeah. Yep, that's right. Customizing, so that people can be their most effective. You're thinking about what information can I give them so they can be their most effective in the different scenarios.
I guess a question to that is, I think the reason maybe I front load information is because I want to be very transparent. And so I feel like if I'm customizing what information I give people, it makes me feel less transparent. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Well, it's like, I don't know if this will be a good example, but it's like if you look at what happened with us when COVID first happened, and there was literally no revenue in a month where we had forecasted $350,000 of revenue. If I was to have, and as you may recall, Wendy, I was traveling and I came back and, oh, sorry, you may have not been at the company, but yeah, right. But so I was traveling with Maria internationally, and I came back and sort of recognized the severity of the situation. And I needed to have a crisis plan put in place, which we did, and we ended up with, as a whole team, with a very, very successful response to that crisis for our organization. But if I had shared with everybody at the organization that we literally had no revenue and we had anticipated 350,000, and then my feeling or belief about it was that we may not be in business, by the end of the year, which is a possible scenario that I was kind of trying to figure through along with other possible scenarios, I would have just created anxiety for people that couldn't do anything about it. So I didn't share that I thought we might be out of business at the end of the year. I shared that we have a clear and present danger, and we're going to put a plan together to solve that. We are going to solve this. We can do this, right? So I wasn't lacking transparency about the severity of the situation, but I left out, some of the detail around, we might be out of business. So that's an example for me of being transparent, but, is it useful to tell everybody that works at Greenhouse that, you might not have a job in, 6 months at that point in time, is that useful? It's useful later, potentially, if that scenario starts to play out.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Pete, for continuing your session and wrapping that up. It was nice to hear some of it.
Yeah, I was trying to be adaptable to the awkward immediate cutoff of the conversation, but I understand why that happened. So,
well, then you just keep going.
Right. I'm not a rule follower.
Adaptability. No. Okay. So I hope everyone enjoyed your leadership sessions. I think someone said, I wish I could be in all of them, and I do too. I think mine went really great. So I hope all of yours did as well. So we're moving into our executive team, professional theme session now. So real quickly, just going to introduce who's in the room. Excited to see everyone. So exiting this year is Dr. Roz, the Director of Organizational Development of the Boys and Girls Club of America. We're so glad to have you back at our All Advisor session. She was named Leading Lady by O Magazine, one of Chicago's emerging leaders, and top 100 under 50 executive leaders. She has a 20 nonprofit career, including the Boys and Girls Club and the United Way, and has just 6 degrees. That's it. 6 degrees and certifications, including a Doctor of Education in Adult Education. Also leaving us this year is Sean Stigler, managing partner at Michael Best. He's from Colorado with an 18-year legal career, starting as an accountant, active board member with Colorado State University and with Greenhouse, and a lifetime entrepreneur. He's been a career fair panelist on our Young Leaders Career Fair, for those of you who saw him there, and also participate in New Scholar Selection, one of the most fun opportunities here at Greenhouse. Returning is Rachel Mayung. She's of counsel at DLA Piper in Illinois, a 20-year professional career starting out in mortgage banking. She decided to get her JD after having kids and has been deepening her impact with our work here at Greenhouse, with our Chicago Idea Creation Sessions at the beginning of the year, also New Scholar Selection, and the Illinois Development and Advisory Board. Also returning is Tom Thompson, VP of Creative and Advertising at St. Martin's Press. A fun fact I love to tell everyone about Tom, he's Jacob Sorum's uncle. He is from New York and has a 33-year career in publishing with over 20 years in advertising and social media. He started out in editing, has 2 master's degrees in creative writing and 20th century English lit, and a founding VP of a foundation that was awarded grants to emerging women artists in visual art and poetry, which I think is super cool. Okay, so you can learn more about these advisors on the website, and also feel free to ask them during the breakout groups. So continuing the theme with the first session, we're going to have all our advisors answer one question, which is, what is the top professional advice you would give young professionals in their 20s? We're going to start with Dr. Roz, then Sean, then Rachel, and finally Tom, and we'll put that list in the chat. So Dr. Roz, we will start with you. So great to see you.
Good morning, everyone. Great to see you all. Happy to be back with you. I guess for me, the one piece of advice that I wish I would have received early on, and we'll go actually into this during my session, is to think big. Think bigger than your current role. Think about who it is you want to be, what it is you want to do in the long term, so that you can start positioning yourself for those opportunities early on. My mom used to always tell me, don't dress for the job you have, dress for the job you want. So that would be my advice. To prepare for the job you want, go in with an attitude of excellence, give yourself space and grace to learn and grow, but to always think big.
All right. Well, I'll steal one from a fellow Boulderite. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah, okay. I think Give First, Brad Feld, who wrote a great book, Building Startup Communities, just, go into meetings, opportunities as your growing career, and don't be transactional. Just look for ways you can give, you can add value, you can give service. And it's not that necessarily, if I help Dr. Roz out, she's going to give me something back. But it kind of hardwires in this mentality that we're just going to keep supporting each other, keep giving each other things. So giving each other opportunities. So that would be mine.
Mine is find a hobby. I think when you are first starting out in your professional career, it's really easy to go all in. And I think that's really important. But I think it's also really important to make sure that you are finding ways to prevent burnout, and that you are finding ways to kind of enrich your life outside of your professional, aspirations. And I think having a hobby and kind of investing in other things outside of your professional career will not only like enrich your life generally, but it gives you other things to also talk about when you are out networking and making introductions and talking to people. So much of your career is going to be about relationship building and finding people and meeting people. And when you invest so much into your career and forget the other things, it's really easy to become a very boring person quickly. And nobody wants to work with boring people. Nobody wants to hire a boring person, so kind of think about something that you want to invest in, and maybe it's your health, maybe it's running, or maybe it's crochet. But I think if you talk to fun and interesting people, they always have something like, oh, well, that's so cool. So invest in a hobby.
Mine is to say yes to opportunities within work, to say yes, even if the opportunity seems like it might be outside your scope, but it's something you're curious about. And then I would extend that outside of work to Rachel's point, really, which is to say yes to opportunities outside work, hobbies, curiosities. The one thing that picking up on what Dr. Roz was saying, the one thing I wish I had known in my 20s is that there are many paths, and it has never been more true than it is right now, that you don't know what the path is going to be to your success. And by saying yes to all the different, all in lots of different areas, you will create the path that is your path to success, not to worry about the path that you think is prescribed by other people, but to find your way forward.
Great. Thank you, everybody. I love how different all of that was. So now we're going to jump right into our breakout groups with our individual advisors.
Boy, it's been a great morning of rich content. I'm sure everybody got a lot out of that last professional session. I know we did in the session that we were in with Tom Thompson. So welcome back. It's 11 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, and we're going to introduce our personal or whole person advisors. To make sure I saw their names. Want to make sure Sam and Jill, there you all are. Eric, great. All right, well, I'm going to start with Sam. Sam is the Director of Sustainability at Marist School Network. He works with youth leaders across the country to promote grassroots efforts to address climate change, species loss, pollution, and environmental injustice. So, Sam, you literally get to say, I'm saving the planet every day. That's pretty amazing. Jill is in California. She helps develop she's on our California Advisory and Development Board and helped launch Greenhouse in California. Jill, we cannot thank you enough for your involvement so far. And she has her own private practice as she serves as a personal coach, and she's focused on helping bridge the gap between owners, principals, researchers, and administrators between the ages of 22 and 35. Such rewarding work, I'm sure, Jill. And Eric, congratulations again on your book being picked up, your law book being picked up at Harvard. That's a huge success. Eric is a corporate attorney with Wilson Sonsani, Goodrich, and Rosati. And he practices law in Denver, specifically within corporate and securities law. Prior to law school, he served as a program officer and as a fellow for 2 different Denver foundations. And then our final returning coach, I'm sorry I didn't mention this. I'll go back real quick. Sam is exiting. This is his final all advisor session. Jill is also exiting. Eric will be returning next year. And then Elsa, who wasn't able to attend today because she had a big presentation for the Denver City Council today. Elsa wasn't able to make it, but she's a returning advisor. She's focused on social entrepreneurship. She's the president and CEO of the Denver Preschool Program, where she oversees all organizational activities and provides direction and leadership toward the achievements of the Denver Public Schools' overall mission, vision, and strategic plan. Amazing. So grateful to have you all here and excited to hear what you have to say in your workshops. So for our question for you all to answer, what is the top personal development advice that you would give young professionals in their 20s? I'm going to start with Sam and then Jill.
Alrighty, well, thanks for the kind introduction, Jenny, and great to be with you all from across this virtual community. It's great to be here. I'm tuning in from Norwalk, Connecticut. And I think the key to thriving in your 20s, both vocationally and personally, is to really let your curiosity be your guide. So I'm a really huge of the importance of curiosity conversations. To use the expression, to be more interested than interesting, right? Everybody wants to be the most important, interesting person in the room, but I think the superpower is actually to make the person you're connecting with feel like the most important person and to be deeply invested and interested in how people got to where they are, to learn the art of deep listening and to connect with people and hear their stories. And then once we have that opportunity, we get a sense of the often improbable pathways that led people to get to where they are, right? We sometimes think that life is this linear path where we can see 5, 10, 15 years down the future. But I think most people find that life makes more sense backwards than forwards. And so if we can learn to be interested and be curious about folks who we look up to, we admire, then we can really develop positive relationships and then continue to follow up with those people we connect with. So it doesn't even have to be a formal networking conversation or asking somebody for a job, but simply reaching out because you're curious to learn more about their story. And you never know who they might know, what insight they might share, or what opportunity they may have that can ultimately open a doorway in your own journey.
Great. Jill, would you like to share?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here. I'm excited about the next hour with all of you. Sam, that was great. You covered a lot of bases. I'm going to jump in and take maybe a little different approach, or the other side of being curious, which I love, and tie that into living with intention. So I think that seems like such a buzzword. I mean, I'm old, you guys are young, right? And so back in my day when I was 20, I don't think we talked about living with purpose, living with intention. And so now at the ripe old age of 60, having built careers and had my family and jumping into a second career, living a lot of life, I think if I could go back in my 20s, I would try to be more intentional. And I think that also covers a lot of bases, right? A little bit like Sam said, creating self-awareness daily, weekly, monthly, continuing to reevaluate myself, not just getting on a treadmill and running forward and keeping up with the do's and the shoulds and the judgments, right? But really taking time to assess where I am, where I want to be, set purposeful goals for myself, and create a space, like I said, to think outside the box, and to also be purposeful. Time goes by quickly, especially for you guys this day and age, right? Where we have immediate satisfaction or gratification in anything we want to do. We have access to so much information. Time goes by. And so really, I think make the most of it in your 20s. Don't just jump on the treadmill and let things come at you. Step off once in a while and reassess. And be intentional about your decisions.
Thank you, Jill. All right, Eric, what words of wisdom do you want to share?
Great. I love both those. So for Sam, I agree. Number one, intellectual curiosity. If you just commit yourself to a lifelong, love of learning, I think you're going to be successful. And then to Jill's point, to have that vision, right? To be intentional. I think that those are both great. So that would be number one for me. Number two for me is important, and you're going to hear a lot of different advice as you progress in your careers. And some people agree with what I'm about to say, some people disagree. But at the end of the day, based on my experience and my journey, you have to love it. You have to have passion for what you're doing. And I think there's three individuals who reaffirm that point. Number one, Coach Prime. So I'm a professor at CU, so I see it. He absolutely loves what he does, and it's evident to everyone. So that's number one. Number two, Jack Harlow. If you look at videos or YouTubes of him in high school and the journey that he went through, the only reason he got to where he is because he absolutely loved it and he did not quit. And number three, Steve Jobs. When he had cancer and he gave that commencement speech at Stanford University, he said the exact same thing. And in fact, Jack Harlow, in one of his songs, cuts to that quote from Steve Jobs, because I think he's saying to all his listeners, look, this is what worked for me, right? You got to love it. You got to love the path that you're on. And related to that, successful people will be successful regardless of the context. And I think for you guys, you have to pick, what is that context going to be? What path are you going to choose? Because at the end of the day, you'll be successful. And I think if you love it, if you have that passion for it, you're going to ascend to the highest levels of your career. And then number three, the power of exponential growth. I believe the exponential graph explains so much in life. It explains money. It explains social capital. It explains intellectual curiosity and how you develop those frameworks. If you can lock that in, the power of exponential growth, and that you incrementally get to wherever you want to go, regardless of those three areas, I know that that has changed my life. Do you do the small things every day to get to where you want to go? If you do, eventually you'll look back and you'll be like, wow, okay, I see the power of exponential growth. So those are the three things I would recommend.
Wow, young leaders, alumni, I hope you're pumped because these three have a lot of really good things to share with you in this next workshop. All right, we're going to go into our breakout groups. Click that blue button when you see it and enjoy your time. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that final session. And we've got a short break. And then advisors, thank you so much for your time. Sam, Jill, Eric, you can continue the rest of the day without us. We'll miss you. Alumni, please stay on. We do have a wrap up and a raffle for you to be present to win. So please stick around. We want to hear everything that you learned and we will share that back with our advisors as well. So Sam, Jill, Eric, thank you again. And
Thank you.
The rest of you, we'll see you in just a few minutes.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Yep.
Bye.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Did anybody see Pete on the Colorado State News yesterday at 4 and 6 p.m.?
No. You saw that, Tyler?
Yeah, I got sent a link about it yesterday, but yeah, Pete was talking on the news with, like, it was, the story was about Helena, but they interviewed Pete as part of it for Greenhouse.
That's awesome.
Wait, do you have the link? I want to see.
Yeah, I want to see the link.
Yeah, here, one sec.
Put it in the chat. Have you seen any like direct feedback or like direct engagement because of that new segment, Greenhouse folks? Yet?
I think it might.
I just sent it in chat.
That's a good question, though, especially with it being, what do they call it today? Giving Tuesday. Right. So the timing kind of worked out.
Ooh.
For us, hopefully. I don't know. I haven't even got to see it yet, so I'm excited.
There were, I read the article because I found it in the article. They also wrote an article about it. But I didn't watch the video because I was with family last night. And then Helena was texting me like, did you see you made it? Did you see you made it? And I was like, what do you mean I made it? And she was like, did you not watch the video yet? And I guess some of the photos we sent in were, I think this one is one of them, like the greenhouse one. And so they'll have a couple of photos of some of us as well. It was very cute.
I love that.
Oh, look at the link. I'm excited to see the, permanent location.
It shows probably because I haven't seen the permanent location because I moved out of state while they were still at the one that we first opened. And so this was the best video I got of the location, and it is so cute.
Oh, it's so exciting. I'm so it's so exciting. I thought the temporary location was great. So
Yeah. This is crazy because they'll show a couple in the segment when everybody watches it, but her truck or a semi truck goes around that corner right next to her gas station, and they explain that so many people drive by, but it's like 4 million people have to take that right hand turn 10 feet in front of her gas station to go to the sand dunes every year. So it's like it's so great.
It's so exciting, especially considering that corner that he's talking about prior to that was literally nothing. Like there's like nothing there.
Yeah, for like 40 years or something like that. Like there was nothing there for so long that the state of Colorado was going to put in a huge roundabout and eminent domain that property. And then they came and they were like, wait, you have a plan? You have a restaurant? You're already working on it? What do you mean? Like,
it's super cool. What a great segue too for our wrap up. I just feel like that's such a positive, fun way to celebrate one of our alums' success. So yeah, we're just gonna quickly do, I tried to frantically get some themes and top takeaways from everything, especially for people who couldn't be obviously in every breakout room. And then kind of similar to you guys who have attended Ignite, We would just love to get your real-time input and feedback. We made a couple changes from this year to last year for those who were in the all advisor session, like shortening the panel, just answering one question, and just really having the meat of this day being those workshops and breakout sessions, for example. So just quickly, and I'll put these themes in a follow-up email as well, but there are just a couple. One thing I really loved is sort of looking at everyone's superpowers. I didn't plan on going over this, but I just loved some of the continuity through everybody. So just sort of summarizing collectively what we have as superpowers, connection and collaboration, problem solving and adaptability, empathy and emotional intelligence, positive mindset and realism, teaching and mentoring, creative and analytical thinking, communication and listening, and personal growth and resilience. So like, what a great, well-rounded group that we all are. For the leadership that came from that intro question, ask questions and embrace growth. Practice self-awareness and decision-making. Lead yourself with intention and challenge yourself and stay curious. And what I love about that list, even though it came from a leadership theme, which can, sometimes be a little dry or not always applicable, I feel like those top advice you could apply anywhere. So I thought that was really cool. As far as the breakout groups for the leadership team, we heard about remote leadership and communication from Allison Rabin. So for those who were in that group, she talked about intentional communication, inclusivity and engagement, and setting expectations and accountability when it comes to being in a remote setting. Pete talked about confidence as a key to leadership, which I think is something that we don't talk about a lot. I think we assume leaders are confident, but that's not always true. Decision-making with leadership. So strong leaders must make decisions, embrace mistakes, and consider the impact of their actions on others. Learning from challenges. So embrace failure as a learning opportunity and handle unanticipated situations. I know he kind of talked about COVID. Some of us got to hear the end of that piece. Greg talked about ethical leadership. I was in this group and thought it was really interesting. Leaders must uphold ethics and values, reflect on your leadership. Sometimes your ethical leadership, sometimes you might not be as ethical as you think, and it's a learning process to continue to grow what being ethical means. Having courage to speak up when things aren't ethical and show your character through your ethical leadership, which I thought was a really interesting way to a spin on ethical leadership. And then David Zimmerman, for those of you who got to go through his exercise, I think that is a really cool thing to do with him if you haven't done it before. But he talked about people-centered leadership, business over people, being self-awareness, again, with emotional intelligence. So leaders need to be emotionally intelligent, self-regulated, and resilient. And effective leadership requires patience, consistency, and the ability to learn and build rapport. Is there anything maybe I didn't mention with leadership that really stuck out to you guys in your sessions? And staff or alums can speak to that. Okay, so moving on to the executive advisors. Dr. Roz, her recommendation was think big and plan ahead. Sean talked about being generous and supportive, which I think is a great spin on a professional theme. Cultivate a full life from Rachel, and say yes to opportunities from Tom. And the themes from the breakout groups with Dr. Raj, she talked about strategic growth, effective communication, and strategic planning. So like using frameworks for vision, analyze, prioritize, plan, and monitor. So again, that just like ongoing analysis and checking in. Sean talked about tech and habits for success. He always has such great new tools that he knows about. So leveraging tools for productivity, consistency, so focusing on building habits that foster discipline and using tech to help with that. Work-life balance, so incorporating healthy habits like exercise, therapy, and setting boundaries. And collaboration and networking, so building connections with community, sharing resources, and creating opportunities. Rachel talked about effective communication, active listening and empathy, warmth and trust, and communication strategies. So one thing I thought was interesting she brought up was recognizing triggers of other people and maybe slowing down and taking a step back to react in a different way once you learn someone might be being a little reactive or a little sensitive about something, then maybe you need to pause and change your approach. Tom talked about company culture. So being collaborative over being competitive, which sometimes can be tough when a lot of our workplaces thrive on competition. So what does that look like? Adopting an approach of caring. So again, bringing up that empathy piece and how important that is, and how to handle conflict. So address tough conversations with respect, avoid gossip or backstabbing, which can continue to happen even as we age. And then the whole person advisors, we talked about, Eric emphasized lifelong learning and vision, and the examples he gave I thought were super interesting and pretty broad. Sam talked about curiosity and connection, so continuing that level of curiosity and asking questions. I loved his suggestion of just reaching out to someone whose life and path you find interesting. I thought that was super cool. And Jill talked about intentional reflection and self-awareness, so creating space for that for yourself. And then the themes from the breakout groups, Sam talked about power statements and patterns. So looking at your attributes of your life and careers and how they contribute to your energy, connection, and alignment. Jill talked about core values and how we reflect on those core values in decision-making and lean into those core values when you're talking about how you balance tech in your life and your digital engagement. And Eric talked about the impact of storytelling for impact. So how do you capture attention and connect with your audience, especially in digital spaces where you can be overwhelmed by every other content and email and Instagram post? And the importance of being authentic in that storytelling to connect with people. We also had some book recommendations. I'm going to throw these in the chat. I hope I captured them all. So we have The Story Edge, Start With Why, Daring Greatly, Good to Great, and Outliers. I've only read Good to Great, so this is a great list for me personally. That's just a quick summary of what we've heard. So I'd like to take a couple minutes before we go into the raffle here and just hear from you guys. Like, what did you like about the All Advisor session? Jenny asked a good question. What would your Google review be of the All Advisor session or even the individual sessions?
I thought all of the sessions were great and insightful. I really appreciated that in Dr. Roz's session, we had pre-work yesterday or a couple days ago that Jenny sent over for us to complete. I think that was good to have something to go into the session with and just like made the session more straightforward.
Great. Thank you, Connie. Anyone else want to share on your experiences or, maybe how would you recommend, the value of these sessions to alumni who aren't here, who haven't joined yet?
What I was pleasantly surprised about is the small group feel to each of the sessions. So you could get any particular questions answered or just felt pretty intimate getting to know the advisor and being able to talk openly and freely and get more value out of the session if you were in like a lecture hall or something.
Great. Thanks, Annika.
I thought it was a really good reminder for myself of the connections, networking, and resources that Greenhouse can provide, just not just through like the physical, or not the physical, this is kind of the physical space, but not just through this space, but by being able to connect with them and have those small groups, and just being reminded. I think I know myself, can't speak for any other scholars, but I know sometimes I can feel disconnected no matter how connected I am. And I think that these are really helpful in just reminding me of a lot of that is very one-sided from myself. And so it's kind of taking that into account. And I would say that that's a good thing to remind other scholars about too. So.
Thanks, Tyler. All right. Anyone else? Any insights or thoughts?
I really liked just I forget exactly who said it. It might have been Zimmerman, but just talking about curiosity. Like I think about like a lot of the moments where like in my professional career thus far, I've been able to kind of get forward or get to a meeting that I, shouldn't be in or didn't expect to be in or something like that. And a lot of that just starts with digging into, what people are passionate about. And just like, creating authentic connections with people. And I think Greenhouse teaches, we've been reinforcing, how to do that all throughout our college experience. But I like that is still something that is, valuable and still constant in this process and program.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Lamar. All right. Anyone else? Okay. Well, I just want to take the time to thank you for being engaging today and attending. I know these daytime sessions can be sometimes tough to attend and prioritize. So just want to appreciate that because it provides a, great experience for our advisors as well as your fellow alums. So just, thanks for showing up and engaging. I know our advisors really enjoy this, and already I've heard from Jill, who's going to really miss not being here next year. So just, really appreciative of the work that they put in to all of this to make sure you guys have quality sessions. So just a quick insight of how next year looks different, and then I'll kick it off to Jenny. So the timing for next year, we're going to condense to the first quarter of 2025, and instead of being spread out through the year. And so that's just intentional to see if that's more digestible to people, if they're able then to take what they learn and utilize it through the remainder of the year. Jenny just put in another book rec from Tom. Thanks, Jenny. And yeah, so our focus for next year is attitudes and goal setting for lifelong success. And we pick our themes for each year really based on the feedback we get from you guys after each year of the advisor session, through your YLP surveys, feedback maybe we get from the career fair, Ignite, everything. So one thing that kept coming up in different ways is that you guys really wanted to focus on goal setting. So how do you incorporate that? How do you work through that process? So we're going to incorporate the importance of that and attitude through the 3 themes of leadership, professional, and whole person. We've already recruited a couple of great new advisors. We're almost done with that recruitment process, but I'm super excited for you guys to see who's new and fresh. As I mentioned earlier, Pete's moving off of the leadership team and excitedly signed up for the whole person team. So he'll be there next year and on a different team. So it's his way to stay involved in a different way with the Young Leaders Program. And I think that's fun that he wants to do that and is taking the time to do that. So Jenny will you can RSVP with her, but I'll kick it off with her to talk about the dates and stuff like that.
Yeah. So the initial invitation was sent out last week, and we're promoting all of these all at once. But the first one that you'll want to RSVP for is the leadership session, which is Tuesday, January 28th. This is going to take place in the evening again from 6 to 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And so I'll send more reminders, of course, about when you need to RSVP, but we did kind of package these all in one because, as you'll see, they're all in the first quarter with the all advisor session leading into April. So RSVP for that January session, we need those in by, I think we said the 12th, but you'll see those dates come through multiple times. The professional session is going to be on a Tuesday as well, February 25th. That's also from 6 to 8 p.m. Whole person, that's going to be March 18th in the evening, 6 to 8 p.m. Mountain Standard. And then the All Advisor session, we are going to do again same format as this, where it'll be 8:30 in the morning Mountain Standard and to 12:30. So please prioritize that on your calendars if you're interested in taking advantage of these learning opportunities again. And the RSVP is just emailing me. You can either reply to the email that I sent last week or the follow-ups that'll be hitting your inbox. But just a simple email to me will work, and I'll get you on our list. Okay, should we go? Are we ready for the raffle?
Let's do it. Yeah.
All right. So I'll share my screen because we have a really neat thing called the Wheel of Names. The Wheel of Names. I'm going to just open it on its own tab here for a second.
While she's bringing that up, just as a reminder about the Ignite dates. So I think a lot of you already have them, but August, first weekend in August again. So we're already planning some pretty exciting stuff. So just throwing that out there.
Yeah. Okay. Jamie, do you want to list off the first prize?
Oh, sure. Okay. So first we have round trip transportation or flight to Ignite, hoping that you book by May 1st so it doesn't cost $5,000. But yes, so let's do it.
Okay. Click to spin.
So if you're not flying, then we'll pay for, your gas or to get here or whatever that looks like. Congratulations, Connie. Very exciting. Okay, next we have a stay in the hotel for the nights of Ignite. So might be a hotel, not sure, but it'll be by our office. So we'll remove Connie.
And we did, the way we structured this was that folks who attended an advisor in residence session earlier in the year qualified for these raffle items that were related to Ignite. So Ananda, because you rallied and wanted to attend, but hadn't attended an advisor in residence session, you're automatically going to get our bonus prize, which I'll announce at the end. But that's why you don't see your name here. All right. So the next one is the hotel stay in Boulder during Ignite.
Mm-hmm.
Fewer names, but because
yeah.
That's a very clever wheel.
It is, isn't it? It's like, who came up with this? Devante. Congratulations.
I know who I'm rooming with.
Who's your new best friend? And then last but not least, an extra $100 bonus on top of the travel stipend that you already get. You get an extra $100.
These are great prizes, by the way.
It's very exciting. Akshay! Congratulations to the winners. You're all winners in my book. So just want to throw that out there. And as Jenny mentioned, who wins the extra $50 Amazon card is still here. Who is it going to be? Ananda!
Congrats.
That was funny. Okay, well, we've taken up a lot of your time. Super appreciate you guys. I messed up and forgot to announce the group photo in the beginning, so I'd love to take one more of who's still here. If you can come off camera, that would be great. If you can't, I totally understand. But I'd love to see your smiling faces one more time. And we'll just ready? One. Oh. All right. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.